Moscow has amassed more than 100,000 soldiers near the two countries' shared border now, but Russian President Vladimir Putin denies the existence of a plan for an invasion, placing the blame instead on Washington and NATO for undermining the region's security. Meanwhile, China has very publicly put on a united front with Russia, President Xi joining Putin in opposing further NATO expansion during an actual meeting today in Beijing. And then there's the whole issue of the Olympics taking place. ABC's Patrick Reevell is in Kyiv with more. So, Patrick, what do we know about these negotiations?
Hi, Kira. Yeah, you know, in a lot of ways, the diplomacy around Ukraine hasn't changed much in over a week. You know, the U.S. sent these written responses to Russia to its demands that NATO not enlarge and that Ukraine never join NATO. And Russia today again has said right now they're studying those and that Vladimir Putin at some point will make a response to that. At the same time, Vladimir Putin has already said that those responses appear to have ignored Russia's key demands. And so right now we're basically waiting to see what Vladimir Putin's response might be. At the same time, here in Kiev, we've been seeing a steady stream of political leaders. We've seen Britain's Boris Johnson come through, and we had President Erdogan of Turkey come through this week as well. And now next week, France's President Emmanuel Macron is going to visit Moscow and then come here to Kiev. And that is the next thing that people are watching, whether perhaps Russia might use that meeting as at least a start to finding a kind of diplomatic exit from this crisis that it has, of course, stoked itself.
Well, and as you know, the Biden administration has warned that the Kremlin is planning to stage a phony incident as an excuse to invade Ukraine. What do we know about this?
Yeah, it's very interesting. The Biden administration already accused Russia of planning to stage a false flag incident in the rebel regions in the east of Ukraine, in the Russian-controlled regions. And essentially, this new allegation added more details, saying that Russia might be preparing to stage a video, a very graphic video that would show essentially a fake Ukrainian atrocity, potentially a drone strike, for example, and that it was going to involve crisis actors and dummy corpses. And on the one hand, this is actually something that is plausible. Russia has done this before. Back in 2014 and 2015, it was quite common that they would stage Ukrainian atrocities, and that includes hiring actors who would play supposed victims of these Ukrainian atrocities. But at the same time, you know, the White House is facing a bit of pushback because, again, they're not providing any evidence. And they're saying, you know, that you have to take this on trust. And the White House's argument is that this is part of a broader strategy, that it's a way of, they need to get ahead of Russia that has this playbook of using disinformation, and that a way to defang this disinformation is basically to announce it ahead of time and make it kind of less useful. And that's part of this broader strategy that we see with the U.S. essentially calling out Russia very hard and warning that we think you might be about to do an invasion. And this is part of that broader strategy. At least that's how they are presenting it.
So finally, Patrick, you know, with today's show of unity between Russia and China, clearly it's making a number of political leaders here in the U.S. nervous. What is China's potential role now?
You know, I think China's role here is very interesting and quite complicated. I mean, on the one hand, you know, this meeting between President Putin and President Xi was clearly meant to send a very clear message that we are together, that we're closing ranks, and that we stand firmly together now amid these tensions with the U.S. And, you know, it's part of this broader thing that we're seeing where these are two powers that are basically aligned right now in trying to challenge U.S. power globally, and in particular in their own neighborhoods. And we see, obviously, in Ukraine, we have Russia pushing back on the U.S.'s role and any presence it might have in Ukraine. And in China, obviously, we're seeing, as for a long time, an increasingly aggressive approach to Taiwan. And so it is, on the one hand, though, more complicated because China, while it does support Russia and say it supports Russia's demands that it should seek security guarantees in Europe, on the other hand, it has stopped short of saying anything about Ukraine. It has not explicitly said that it backs Russia's demand that Ukraine should never join NATO, for example. So there's a very clear message coming, but ultimately it is more complicated, perhaps, than it appears.
All right, Patrick Reevell for us there in Kyiv. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.